Welcome to the full moon in Sagittarius recording. I'm Lacey.
I'm Mary.
And Mary, yeah.
I didn't know if that's why
Interrupting.
you were pausing. I was like, oh.
I know. I thought that's really why I was pausing. And then I was like, yeah, like Aries through. But so distractions. We're probably going to get sidetracked and distracted while we talk about this full moon in Sag. We're going to talk about Sagittarius in general. If you know where Sag is in your chart, first house, second house, third house, fourth house, right? You may want to look that up. Pause now. What house is it in? And then Google what house it's in, because I'm not going to talk about the houses. um, but yeah, Sagittarius. I love Sagittarius. I do though get frustrated with the distractions. That is true. But like still I love the comedy and the lightness that Sag brings, right? I also love sort of the roughhousedness, right?
Yeah.
The comedic mirroring that Sag can do, like
Yeah.
I love that stuff and the truth telling because I value telling the truth, right? I value it. So don't not say things, don't not say words, just say it, right? Just tell me the truth, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Even if it hurts,
Oh my God. My double Sag daughter, right?
Yeah.
She comes to me and she said, Jeremy told me that he does all the work and that's why you don't know where the laundry is. And
That's amazing.
and I just start busting up, right? 'Cause she's so serious and she's
Yeah.
like committed to giving this honest
Yeah.
information, right? That's exactly what I heard.
Yeah.
So then I go and I open the front door and I'm like, Jeremy,
Did
I
you?
was just told that you do all the work and that's why I don't know where things are. Right. And he starts dying. Like he was like, she's trying to kill me, right? This kid is gonna get me killed. Like he keeps maintaining, I didn't say that. I
Oh
said I
my,
do the laundry.
you're right. Speaking of double Sag, she loves her rough house with me, right? If
She
I'm
does.
over there for more, if I'm sitting on the floor, she is going to be hanging on me, right? She's
Yes.
like tumbling around me. She wants me to like toss her. She wants me to like put her upside down, right?
Yeah, it's really adventurous, kind of
Yeah.
scare me, roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time that she's a Libra rising, so she always kind of wants cuddles too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes she'll mix that, so she'll hang on you or something. You're like,
Yeah.
she's
Yes.
like a little spider monkey sometimes.
Yes. But and here's the other. So Sagittarius, and also you can distract her easily, right? Like if you just start tickling her, she'll totally like forget usually
That she
whatever
was
it was.
upset or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
The
Um,
distractibility can be in your favor with
yeah,
Sagittarius for sure.
yes. But then also if you're trying to get Sagittarius to focus on something, especially I imagine a Sagittarius child that's like, pay attention, right? Trying to get the attention.
She's almost not a good example in that way because she has an Aquarius Mars.
Yeah,
So then
yes,
telling her to pay attention, she automatically says no, So it's
right.
like other Sag might be more mutable to
Yeah,
that, right? More like, okay, I'll listen, whatever, right?
yeah,
But she has this contrary kind of piece
right,
that kind of shows up in any sort of command, right?
right,
So I feel like her Aquarius, her Sag makes it really fun loving, makes it
right,
really
right. Yeah.
fun still and humorous and cute and
Hmm.
light-hearted.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has that contrary edge because of the Aquarius Mars.
Right, totally. And as a double Aries, a double fire initiator, right? With a mutable Sag. So Sag can keep going or not, right? Depends upon if there's fire feeding it or air feeding that Sag, right? Are we talking about something interesting? Right? Are we physically doing something interesting? Then that fire can keep going, right? So when you put Vera a double Sag with me, a double Aries, we
burn my house down.
Yeah, like I can't stop talking. Like I'm like, oh, what if you did this? She's like, well, let me do that right now, right? And then she'll like go do it, and you're like,
Right.
oh, that's interesting. I do this next, and then she'll go do that. So we're just like we could exhaust each other,
Right.
right? Because I can't stop being interested in like, well, what if you did this?
You both sleep really well after like
Yeah.
yeah.
Like exhaust each other. And then truth telling, right? She's like, give me the truth. And I'm like, here it is. Right. And she's like, oh, and sometimes the truth can definitely be like a little bit much, And
Yeah.
so, I'll be like, yeah, I see that this truth would be like too much right now, whatever. So let's just do something else. Something else about Sagittarius is toys. Sagittarius loves toys. And it depends upon what house Sagittarius is in as to what toys a person will have, right?
I'll be honest, when you say that, my mind goes to sex toys.
Oh, yeah. Well, it can be if you have a Sag Sun 8th house, maybe Sag Moon 8th house, right? Doesn't have to be sex
Sag
toys.
arrows or something.
Yes. But like say my son Titus has Sag in the first house, right? So one, really good at mirroring people, right? He can pick up moves really quick. Vera, same thing, right? She can pick up moves. She will mirror you, right?
Yeah.
And they love to learn, right? So there's this passion for learning and then sharing what I just learned, witness what I just learned, right?
Right. Let me teach you what I just learned.
Yes, let me teach you what I just learned. And then if it's like really good, you better sit down. You need to hear this, right? Like
she gets so mad if I don't focus solely on that dance routine. Right?
Yes. And so Titus, who loves boxing, right? So he will watch boxing videos or he'll go to a boxing class and then he'll be like, want to see what I did? I learned this thing, and he's like showing me stuff, and I have to like see him do it, right?
Yeah.
Also, Sagittarius is the sign of the beast, half man, half beast, right? So the archer. So what does he do? He fucking makes bows and like when he's at battle games, right? He can just take fools out if when he's focused. So Sagittarius has the capacity to hone in when it is something important to them, right? When it is something that they are tackling, right? But it's one thing at a time, not a whole bunch of stuff. Then it's like too much. But if it's like tackle this thing, your mission, shoot everyone with this bow and this arrow, right? You'll just like take
focus on one.
Yeah.
Basically set your sights on one thing.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And he loves to fight, right? He loves to box. He loves to wrestle. His toys are boxing gloves, right? His toys are his toys are a bow and arrow, right? Anything that he can do to go out. His body, right? Anything he can do to go out and use this. Also, Sagittarius is immensely valorous. There's like a valor.
Right.
Like valor.
Noble. Yeah.
Yes. That comes with Sagittarius. So Titus is if a kid is being picked on in school, I've had this a number of times where the most recent incident was when he was in 8th grade and there was a teacher. There was a kid who was kind of a pill all throughout Titus's. He didn't like this kid because this kid was disruptive and he would hurt people, right? He was like a bully, and it irked the crap out of Titus. And so one day he hurts one of Titus's friends. And then Titus goes to the front desk, the office, and he goes, hey, this kid just hurt my friend and he's a bully. And we all know this. Now, all of the office loves Titus for his very honest self, right? And they were like, okay, we'll take care of it, Titus. Titus goes, I'll give you 2 class periods. Basically, if you don't do anything about it, And they were like, what? Okay, whatever. And so then 2 class periods go by. That kid wasn't called out at all. So Titus goes, puts the kid in a headlock, starts giving him noogies, and it's like, oh, are you going to do anything anymore? Are you going to do this to my friends anymore? And the kid's like, no, it's fine. I won't do it anymore, right? And then Titus lets him go. And then he goes and turns himself into the front office, goes, I just did this. Give whatever punishment you like.
I
Right.
love him. Yeah.
Which of course they send him home. I had to go and get him early from school, but they were laughing. They were like,
Right.
oh my gosh. He's
kind of high-fiving him. Like, you're not really in trouble. You did a service here.
Yeah, he's so likable, right? But that's that valor of don't do that. You know, that
somebody right, taking care of the masses in a way, right? Like
right. Yeah.
Something altruistic about that, doing it for the right reason because it's the right reason to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that half beast. There's a lustiness, right, to Sagittarius too, right? Like and lusty doesn't have to be like overtly sexual, but like you know, think of half beast. It's half a beast. How does your Sag sun, second house, feel like beastie at all?
No, I almost feel like beast doesn't so this could be the Harry Potter fan in me too, right? I almost feel like the centaurs and that would take offense because the centaurs in Harry Potter are actual astrologers.
Yeah.
Right. So they may have half horse, right?
Yeah.
But they're incredibly intelligent and intuitive and
love to learn.
kind of given this gift of like foresight and understanding, and that, you know, their kind has been studying the stars. And there's even a joke in Harry Potter about how, you know, he starts teaching divination, and a girl was like, oh well, when Mars and Saturn are connecting, that means you could get hurt because of the heat. And then, you know, she's just like listing off some stuff, and he's like, that is absolute human nonsense, right? he's talking about how like Mars in the sky is predicting a battle in humanity, right? Like good versus evil, and like kind of predicting what's coming,
right?
And so they're like, you're human, so of course that it's not it's not bad for you to believe that, right? But that is human speak, right? And he was like, this is what we do is different. And I always thought there was always like a, in my mind, when I think beast, I almost think more carnal, or you know what I mean, impulsive. Which fire is impulsive, but then there's that wisdom that I kind of match with it.
But like, definitely when you and I are sitting next to each other, you'll definitely like, stop it, right? Like, or I feel like I want to, stop it, right? Like, well, you know, there's like a very physical way that we interact, you know?
Oh yeah, where we like smack each other or something to get excited, or there's definitely a roughhousey thing, kind of. Right? And like Jeremy is a Cancer sun, right? Leo rising, so he can kind of take it, but he's not the same way. So when I smack his knee because I'm like really excited, he's almost like, what the fuck? Whereas with you, you're like, oh, I know, right? Yeah. And so it's kind of different, right?
Or like, stop being so right. You know? Say more truth. Say more truth, you know? Right. But when I've seen you, when I've seen you with other boyfriends in the past, right? Definitely, like I've seen you like leap on them from the back, right? And like hang on them, you know, like tackle.
Oh yeah, like if we weren't getting older, right? And like injured our backs and little old people in pain, like
but that,
you know,
but that's real, right? That is very Sagittarius. I've seen you just do it, right? Yeah. I think that's kind of more like it, you know, not like an out of control beast, but like also, can I ask you another maybe really personal question?
Yes.
So you have a Sagittarius, right? And we were kind of talking sex toys earlier, right? You mentioned it. I do have a fun Sagittarius sex toy story that I will tell. But Sagittarius, I've heard several Sages now describe Sag men particularly, but describe themselves as lusty, that there is like a lusty vibe or like an aggressive sexual vibe. Would you say that when you feel inspired, that you feel more aggressive in bed? Like,
it's hard to know how much of something like that would be my Aries Mars
Yeah.
or the Sag Sun and Mercury in the
Yeah.
second house.
Mm-hmm.
So resources in Sag and communicating Sag,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't really think I feel like I've always felt like it was more my Aries Mars maybe would maybe play with that kind of,
Yeah.
but overall not really.
Yeah. Yeah. What
But
about
then I'm a Scorpio rising,
mhm.
right? So that really changes, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was a Leo rising with
Yeah.
double Sag or something like that, right? That would be a very different
Yeah.
bodily, like,
Inhabit.
yeah, well, yeah, and like you're pursuant of the way that you would be attracted to, right? I
Right.
have to mix this Aries energy with all of the Scorpio energy,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's very like kind of secretive and sleuthing and like still want to win,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I go about it in kind of more, yeah, I
How do
don't
you go
know,
about it, Mary?
more secretive ways. You know what I mean? I I don't I try not to be seen like so much. And
Yeah.
that's in like every area,
Yeah.
right? So that even translates to my personal life. So I got lucky that Jeremy's really understanding of both
Yeah.
me and astrology
Yeah.
because we work within it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But like, um, yeah, I don't think I'm an easy person to be with because
I think every Scorpio major placement feels that way. I'm not easy to be with. I think that every Mars person feels that way. As a double Aries, I feel that way too. Like, oh, I'm not easy to be with, but you totally are. Like,
no, because okay, but I also think of my Aquarius moon though,
mhm.
right? I do like space. I do
Yeah,
like to step away and think about things and be
yeah,
alone,
yes,
like
yeah,
all the way alone,
yeah, same, yeah,
right?
all the way alone.
Um,
Yeah,
and then on top of that,
right.
right, having this kind of shell or exterior or safety feature,
Yeah,
right? So there's a lot on a daily basis that even in a really happy, comfortable relationship, I'm still not fully letting down, you know?
right.
And I think
Yeah,
that's hard, you know what I mean? If somebody's
yep.
being really vulnerable in this, like in a relationship,
Hmm.
maybe they feel like that's not reciprocated. I think there's be like resentment that could build. And that's what I think I'm difficult to be with in some ways.
Yeah. When I think about like Sag moon, I do think of every Sag moon that I know is usually into toys, like for sure, right? And I've kind of found that depending upon the house is like what kind of toys that they'll be into. But Sag moons, if this Sag full moon, maybe go sex toy shopping, get like a sex toy, something that is like fun, or add some kind of wrestling into your, a little bit of rough house into your, a little bit of teaching, learning. Ooh, I learned this when, from this YouTuber. If you want to learn something, you can go to Jessie Fresh, put that in your YouTube, and I think it's called Opening the Bedroom Doors. And you can go through all of her stuff of like what sounds good to try, behind bedroom doors. But maybe learn something and then bring it to the bedroom, right? Or be the student, maybe a little teacher student role play, whatever, like in a, good way.
Yeah, and I guess that could be more literal too. Like you could take that a sexy route, right? But
Mhm.
then there's also like maybe like we were saying toys, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, in general speaking, not just sex toys, I do like, right? Like I love Pokemon. I love
You
Harry
love Harry
Potter.
Potter on your friggin' desk right now is like
Oh
Harry
yeah.
Potter
Well,
stuff,
I
right?
switched my desk up, but it's like right next to me,
Right?
like the
It's
Harry
right
Potter
there.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I was thinking about like first house toys, right? That would be something for the body, like Titus, who has a first house.
right,
And she's got the boxing gloves for rough housing, right? Your
right.
second house, Sag, likes resources, right? So your favorite toys are a camera, right? Your favorite
Yes.
toys are aesthetics, right?
Yes.
Programs to buy so that you can do aesthetics.
Resources, tools.
There's
right?
yes, so tools, toys, right? There's kind of like a thing there,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
Yeah, and so depending upon what house it your Sag falls into can be an indicator of what kind of tools or toys you like, right?
Right.
Jeff, my husband, has an 11th house Sag, right? And so his favorite toys are battle games. He makes boffer swords, or he plays with boffer swords, or he does combating, right? Roughhousing with lightsabers, right?
Right.
Add a little Aquarius rising in there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Perfect.
so that's something
Like
interesting that
real ass lightsabers.
real ones, right? Truth ones.
Well, like you can really fight with them.
Yeah. And then I think about my 9th house Sag, right? My favorite tools are so higher education, right? Books about tarot, right? Books about astrology, right? Books
And
about
not even just
Bible.
books. You
Yeah.
could go deep into documentaries, down
Oh my God,
YouTube
that's my
holes.
favorite.
It's any sort of educational
Yeah.
information or learning, right? You could fall down almost any rabbit
Oh my
hole
God.
of like good
Yes.
info.
1,000%. I can totally do that, right? Because it's just like, and then I think of Sagittarius, I think of festivaling. I think of going to a concert and feeling
Concert
the energy.
tomorrow.
Yeah, you are to a very sort of screamo concert, right? That is something else,
Cheers. Yeah.
that I'm like, oh yeah, that's interesting about Sagittarius, right? Like,
And I am the most excited about bringing my camera
yes,
resource.
to
Right.
take pictures, right?
Yep.
Aesthetics. There
Yep.
isn't a definite aesthetic that comes with Sagittarius, right?
Yes.
There's an eye there for it, right? So like, and an eye for sort of what will make people feel good when they look at it, right? What will make people, yeah,
Yeah,
right,
because if you think about cultural influences, right?
yeah,
There's a variety of colors and a variety of feelings associated with those colors, right? And it
right.
kind of comes back to seasons.
Make another festival thing here. There. Oh my God, so rad. I'm ready
Yeah,
for
I
a
think
festival, bitches.
all the Saggies hibernate to Coachella.
Yeah, right. I mean, I could put on my unicorn horn too, like one of them. Just be like full on bought
You're
in,
ready.
right? Riding into
Ready.
battle.
Isn't that the moon we have coming up? Right.
Yep. Yep. Yes, it is. Actually, the moon, as we're recording this, is in Sag
As we're
right now.
recording,
So
yes.
months ahead. And
But
I
we're
planned it
also
that way.
talking about it for yeah.
I planned it for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sag moons are festival. Plan to go to a friggin' festival or a concert or a comedian, right? Somebody who tells the truth,
Yeah.
but with humor, right? There's a disarming. You can say almost anything if you're saying it with humor, you know. People are usually more willing to listen to you. Although I've noticed that older comedians can be a little bit like, oh, you're out of date with what's racist, or oh, you're out of date with what's culturally acceptable. But for the most part, there is an eye on culture, right? With Sagittarius, there is an eye.
And I think Sagittarius enjoys situations where they are in an audience specifically, right? So, like you said, comedians.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily on stage, they are taking in
Yes.
the information, right, from an audience. So, there's a relaxation that comes from I'm going to be like a student now, I'm going to be the one taking in. Right, like nothing else is expected of me in this audience other than to
make them
like,
laugh,
watch the thing, or
yeah.
right? There's something really thrilling about that. Like I'm gonna go immerse myself in this. Nothing's expected of me except to view and enjoy. Like
Right. That's interesting.
yeah,
Nothing's expected of me, right? Where Aries kind of lives in expectation world, right? Because
right.
it's initiating, I'm expecting something from the initiation, right? Whereas Sagittarius is kind of like, I can go this way or that.
Well, like lectures are kind of fun for that, right? It's not that there isn't an expectation later that you're gonna have to test on this information,
Right.
right? But the being able to sit back and like hear knowledge, that feels like a luxury, or like entertainment or music, right? Like you are the one in the audience
Right.
getting, the energy
Right.
pointed at you versus,
Yes. I think of like a perpetual student is a Sagittarius, right? I'm perpetually learning
forever
something.
student. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a forever student on all things that are like transcendent related, so like self-help related, right? Because I have that ninth house Sagittarius. So I'm like, ooh, what's the
Is it
highest?
Neptune?
Yeah, and I
Neptune?
have Neptune there, which brings in my Pisces Venus bits. So this is why like there's so much color in my Sag expression, right?
Right.
Um, and it's also why I'm like, don't we see how all religions or all belief systems are really trying to do the same thing?
Right.
Don't we all see the root is love? No, we don't all see that. No, 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 right?
Right.
So that's
You want to
something.
think globally about connectivity almost, right?
And blur the lines,
Yeah.
right? My
Right.
mother does not have a Neptune in Sagittarius, right? And she has a ninth house Sagittarius house that's Aries that has that Sun, Venus, Mars there, right? So she is going to nobly, valorously fight for her beliefs. There is a black and white, there is a not the
Yeah.
same, right?
Yep. Yep.
Her Neptune's somewhere else. So
Yeah.
it's like, mine's like, but don't you see? And she's like, impossible, right? And you're all,
Right. Right.
okay, okay, okay. But no, Sagittarius. Okay, one really quick, fun sex toy story. I was at a sanctuary, local sex club, and um it was a game night, right? We were supposed to be playing games. I thought, oh, Jeff's fifth house Gemini might enjoy that, right? Playing a game
Oh, the
together.
game bang, right?
Game bang, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so we get there, and then I'm talking about astrology because, of course, I am with this person who's a Scorpio. Um, and I would see them do some really amazing sexual things later that night, but that's not this story. So, and we're talking about astrology, and this one guy is like, "Oh, I don't believe in astrology," and I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, yeah." He goes, "I know I'm a Sagittarius." I was like, "Oh yeah, you're a Sagittarius sun sign," and he goes, "Yeah," and I said, "What's your favorite toys? Did you bring any toys?" And he goes, "Yep." And he went and got a backpack, more toys, full of toys. He had an electrical thing, right? Electrical nipple clamps that you could push with degrees, right? And I had never tried it. So I was like, ooh, let's try it. So
You're
he
all
wants to,
teach me, right?
yes, right? So I'm like, oh, let's try this toy. And then Jeff is sitting next to me, who's very uncomfortable. He's just uncomfortable. That's the vibe he's giving. And I'm like, oh, let's make it hot, babe. Why don't you put the nipple clamps on, right? He's not going to, whatever. He's going to just have the one with the toy and he can maybe control the volume. You're going to put the nipple clamps on me, right? So Jeff was like just uncomfortable the whole time. And so I'm like telling Jeff, I'm like, slowly, slowly with the clamps, slowly, slowly. So he slowly clamps the nips, right? I got him on. And then the guy, I said, put it on the lowest thing, please. And even the lowest thing was like, right? It was like,
Right. Your
oh,
Venus Pisces is like pain.
yeah. I'm like, oh my God. And it was like exciting. Was it painful? Yeah, but it was thrilling, right? It was a thrilling thing. Jeff's just like, he doesn't know what. He's just like, how do I interact with this? And I'm like, oh, it's okay, babe. It's okay. Um, and then the guy put it on the maximum one, and that one I took them off because I was like, that hurt.
And no.
No, that's too much. But it was wonderful. It was really thrilling, and I very much enjoyed that. Also, I like making Jeff a little uncomfortable, not like too
Right.
much.
You like to study him a little bit, like when he's
Ooh,
pushed and like what he likes or doesn't like.
I love pushing him. I don't like making him mad or upset. I never do
Right.
that. But I love that. Um,
You like it
and
when he's like nervous laughing.
yeah,
Right. Like,
when he doesn't know what I'm gonna do next.
right.
Right.
The
That's
anticipation.
my lusty thing. But yeah, so Sagittarius full moon, go see a comedian, right? Plan to see a comedian. Um,
Taking a
plan,
class. Taking a
yeah,
class.
right. Plan to get fucking distracted all day. Give yourself permission to go down a fun rabbit hole.
Sag, it's kind of a fun day drinking kind of thing, right? Like it's such a lighthearted, go with the
Yeah,
flow, right?
yeah.
So it's like a mimosa on a
Mhm.
Sag full moon would
Yeah.
probably
Kind
be
of
really good.
fun,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
totally.
a traditionally Jupiter ruled sign, as is Pisces. And so there is definitely an escapism love, right?
There's a tendency to over participate, right? With anything Jupiter. But that is part of the fun of
Yeah,
Sag also.
I know, right?
My grandma used to have a saying that if less is more, then more is better.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
It
Exactly. So,
felt very saggy to me when I heard that.
yes. Um, so those are all the things that I have for
Yeah.
Sagittarius.
Have fun mostly, right?
Yeah. Have fun, be lighthearted, be down for learning something new, teaching something
Watch
new.
a comedy.
Yeah. Um, rough house.
Yeah.
Rough house a little.
Arm wrestle if you're not into rough. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just something.
Celebrate truth when somebody says something that's like true, like, oh, shut up. Right?
Right.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
love it. Okay.
All
Sagittarius.
right.
Oh, and Sagittarius full moon is on 5/23, right? May 23rd is the Sag full moon. If you're super nerdy like me, you could even do it the night before that, the 22nd, because the moon is still applying.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
an early full moon, so it's kind of
Right.
like a either or. But yeah, the 23rd. So you have plan. You have time. You have time to make plans.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay. Do something fun.
Do something fun.
That's
Valorously ride into
the only
battle.
role.
Yeah,
Laugh.
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have a sword boffer for a boffer sword fight, right? Have a fun time.
Nerf gun war or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Alrighty. Thanks for listening to us. Mwah.